Yeah, hey, this shit easy, nigga. Hey, I'm talking about, nigga, I'm still out here trying to get it.
Contender Regime Boxing checking back in with y'all, man. What's happening? What's going on? Adrien the Problem Broner in a video that I just saw on posted by Fight Hype on YouTube. He was talking about a lot of things, man. He said a mouthful. He was speaking about his career as a record label owner and, working with his artists and stuff like that, talking about how he had to drop all his artists because it was just taking up too much time. He wasn't really making money like that, and he wasn't able to really focus on what's important, and that led him to start talking about boxing and focusing on boxing. I mean, of course, we heard this story a million times with AB, but he was talking about in the past where he was presented with ultimatums and opportunities to make big money at a young age, which he alluded to the fact that that's what led him to jump from 135 to 147 to go get those big fights. He went up to fight Paulo Malignaggi, and then he went and fought Marcos Maidana with only his second fight at 147 without even having a fight at 140. And then he had only had, 2 fights at 135 before he went up to 147. So all this was just premature, and he talked about him being presented with large amounts of money to make decisions like this. And like he said, he didn't make no excuses. He pretty much said, I had a choice. You feel me? But at that age, when you presented with a lot of money like that, he took that chance. And he also talked about, he said, well, if I would have won those big fights, then we would have been talking totally different right now. But getting into him getting back to boxing and being back focused and things like that, he's saying that he's building the repetition of getting up early, working out, grinding. And he was saying that, hey man, it's over for y'all. That's a scary sight for y'all when I get into this mode, when I start working, when I start getting focused. And like I said, we've heard this a million times before from Adrien Broner, but no matter, and I saw one of the comments which pretty much summed this whole thing up. It's like a good movie that you've seen 100 times. You know what's gonna happen, but you keep watching the movie. That's what it is with AB. We understand what this will most likely turn out to be, but yet we keep watching because he got a gift, man. He's a very entertaining personality. He got a gift. And he can talk you up and say, man, look, I'm about to do this, I'm about to do that. And he get in the ring and we get disappointed. But I do want to give Adrien Broner some credit, though, because, he mentioned also his opponents and the level of skill from his opponents compared to other fighters in their opposition. He said, man, give me these other guys' opponents, and I would probably be undefeated right now. And I don't know exactly who he was referring to, but it's a couple of guys you can mention that say, well, if AB had that resume, he might possibly be undefeated. You got to look at it like this. AB has lost 4 fights, but look at who he lost to. Now, I'm going to name these guys, and then we're going to talk about what that actually means. Now, of course, he lost to Marcos Maidana. That was the first loss, devastating loss, but he fought to the end, showed hard in that fight. Then he lost to Sean Porter, and then he lost to Mikey Garcia, and he lost to Manny Pacquiao. Now, all those guys I consider to be creme de la creme, the best of the best, top-notch fighters. I'm talking about top flight. Manny Pacquiao is a Hall of Famer. Mikey Garcia will be a Hall of Famer. Sean Porter will most likely be a Hall of Famer one day. Marcos Maidana, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Marcos Maidana, one of my favorite fighters of all time. Great fighter. If Tim Bradley can get in the Hall of Fame, I don't see why Marcos Maidana can't get in the Hall of Fame. So I'm talking about top flight guys. Now, that could mean one of two things. That could mean, well, He set out to fight the best every time, and he just came up short, or he's just not an elite fighter. Every time you fight somebody on that level, you lose. And that says a lot. That just, maybe that means that Adrien Broner is just not that good. You know what I mean? So it could mean a few different things, but like I said, I want to give him credit for being one of the guys that goes out and fights the best. Now, he gets in the ring most of the time, and we don't really see the full potential of him. I posted on Instagram last night. I was watching Adrien Broner versus Emmanuel Taylor. That fight right there is my favorite Adrien Broner fight, and I'm gonna tell you why. That is my favorite performance. Now, I think his most skillful, most well-rounded and well put together performance when you're talking about skill-wise was Broner versus Antonio DeMarco. That was probably his best overall performance, and that was his first fight at lightweight for a title, which was beautiful. I felt like he should have stayed at lightweight and reigned and defended that belt and took over at lightweight. But that was his most skillful performance. But my favorite Adrien Broner fight was the Emmanuel Taylor fight. Think about it. Number one, I felt like Adrien Broner had the best ring interest I ever seen in my life. It's up there with Deontay Wilder's ring interest versus Tyson Fury in the second fight. But I think this was even better. He came out with Young Thug and Rich Homie Quan. I think Birdman was probably even there. You know what I'm saying? And at the time, they had that song Lifestyle, which was like the hottest song out. You know what I mean? That was like the hottest song on the radio, hottest song in the street, hottest song in the club, period. On video channels and stuff like that. That was like the hottest song out. And he came out, bro. His performance, walking to the ring, it was beautiful. You got to look at the fact that it was a hometown fight, fighting in Cincinnati. You know what I mean? They fought with a small ring. So, guys, you had to fight. You had to bang. It wasn't going to be no moving around. He had to bang. And Emmanuel Taylor was coming off of a win. I believe he was coming off of a win. I know he had fought Chris Algieri like a couple of fights prior to that, but he was coming off of a win, if I'm not mistaken. He was 18-2 and hungry. Like, Emmanuel Taylor was hungry. Emmanuel Taylor came in, no pressure, AB fighting his hometown, and y'all know how I feel about hometown fights, the pressure that it brings. You fighting in front of family members, friends, people that you grew up with, teachers from high school, or people that was in the neighborhood when you was coming up, and these people that you know, people that know you. So it's a lot of pressure because you don't want to let them down. And AB he haven't had a lot of big fights in Cincinnati. And I think this may have been his first big fight, like while he owned in his hometown. So it was a lot of pressure. Plus, he had only lost one fight, which was the Marcos Maidana fight. So he's not trying to lose in front of his hometown. So the fight was close. It was every round. I'm talking about action-packed every round. Them boys was fighting. A lot of skill was shown. A lot of heart. A lot of mental fortitude was shown in that fight. A lot of ring generalship, and them guys was in the ring fight. They was going at it. And there was one round that really showed me Adrien Broner's heart. The 10th round. If you go back and look at the 10th round in the Adrien Broner versus Emmanuel Taylor fight, look at the 10th round. Look at the final 30 seconds of the 10th round. Emmanuel Taylor was on AB ass. You know what I'm saying? He was going at him crazy. He had hit him with a straight right with like 20 seconds left in the 10th round. And it got to the point to where he was pushing AB back so much, AB just said, fuck it. He went full animal mode, bro. It was animalistic. He went full heart. You know what I mean? Just let it all hang out, bro. And he threw, probably one of the best combinations you'll ever see in your life. I'm talking about speed, power, punch placement, accuracy. Oh my goodness. He started it out with a left hook to the body, then came back right hook to the body, then right uppercut, and then he just started letting out just blistering just a mean ass combination. It was like 8 to 9 punches, and at least 6 of them landed. You dig what I'm saying? And that right there was the first time that I saw AB getting out. In the Marcos Maidana fight, he showed a lot of heart as well. But he just wasn't able to pull that out. Marcos Maidana had already done a lot of damage late in that fight. AB was, he was just purely fighting off a heart at that time. But in that Emmanuel Taylor fight, man, Adrien Broner was pushed to the brink. And he knew, I'm in my hometown, I'm in Cincinnati, bro. I can't go like that. I can't go like that, dog. And that dude that was my favorite Adrien Broner performance. Go back, please, y'all. Go watch the 10th round of Adrien Broner versus Emmanuel Taylor. It's some of the most beautiful boxing you'll ever see. And I think that was my favorite Adrien Broner performance. I believe if he's going to have any success going forward, and the reason I bring that fight up was because I feel like if he's going to have any success going forward, he got to fight like that. He got to fight to the point to where he's not afraid of getting knocked out and getting embarrassed, because that's why he don't throw his hands. If you look at in the Marcos Maidana fight, everybody treated him like shit for getting knocked down and getting hurt in the fight. And I know he didn't even want to do the post-fight interview. He was embarrassed. He talked a lot of shit. He was embarrassed. And a lot of people talked down on him. And honestly, he brought that on himself. You feel me? But he don't ever, it seemed like he don't ever want to experience that again. But in order for him to be in order to be the quality that he needs to be to win against an elite or a top fighter, he gonna have to lose that fear of being embarrassed. He gonna have to let that shit hang on out, because he got the ability. He got the ability, but he can't get out the way of himself. You know what I'm saying? So he gonna have to let that shit go, let his hands go, you know what I mean? And just, if you get knocked out, you get knocked the fuck out, period. What's the point of fighting? You know what I'm saying? If you get knocked out, bro, you just get knocked out. In that Emmanuel Taylor fight, he didn't give a fuck whether or not he got knocked out. You feel me? Because he was pushed to the brink, to the edge, to the point to where it's like, bro, I'm in my hometown, bro. I can't go like that. I can't go like that, dog. You know what I'm saying? That's how Adrien Broner got to fight if he gonna have any chance at beating anybody that's good. So if he does come back, man, I don't know where it's gonna be. He talked about it in that video that Fight Hype posted. If I fight at my regular weight, which I'm thinking he referring to 135. I know him and Devin Haney were talking about possibly having a fight. If that did happen, I would be excited. I think that would be a great fight, a fun fight to watch, and I would hope that it happened at 135. Now, I don't know if Adrien Broner can make 135. I don't think he should have problems doing that, because he's not a huge guy. His dad does have some crazy genetics, you know what I'm saying, where you can blow up. You feel me? But I feel like with dedication and discipline, he can get down to 135 and be okay. And with this time that we have off, man, he should be doing that. So I just wanted to talk about that, man, and really just reflect on Adrien Broner's career, and if we can possibly see him return to any type of dominance or just quality in his skills and his performances, and the rest of his career in boxing. Can we see anything great from AB ever again? You know what I mean? So y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments, man. Contender regime boxing. I'll holler at y'all boys, man.